I don't know how to start this video. There's no exciting introduction. There's no anything. I'm Jake Noecker, and this is Best Bets for UFC Vegas 69, Aaron Blanchfield versus Jessica Andrade. Why is there no exciting intro? Because this card pretty much is garbage, and that's okay. I'm excited for fights any weekend, anytime they happen, but, making a betting breakdown is more fun for some cards than others, and this one on the bottom end of that excitement scale. So before we get to this riveting card, let's talk real quick about last week, UFC 284. That was an exciting card, very exciting card. Islam Makhachev beat Alexander Volkanovski to retain the lightweight belt. Volkanovski still number one pound for pound. And then Josh Emmett fell to Yair Rodriguez, knockout TKO. Yair Rodriguez versus Volkanovski, seemingly for the unification featherweight strap. Thoughts on the card? Great card, up and down. My bets did pretty well. Blake Builder, cash it. Alonzo Manyfield should have cashed it, but the absolute worst fight IQ I've ever seen. My wife's right next to me. Morgan, how bad was I screaming on the couch during that fight?
It was loud.
It was loud, she said. If you didn't hear that, it was loud. It was nonsense. And we should have cashed, but we didn't cash. So cash Builder, then the parlay, Jack Della Maddalena, and Islam Makhachev. Come on, baby. Cash it. I've been seeing a lot of jazz, a lot of controversy on the timeline. People saying Volkanovski should have won. People saying Islam took an IV. You know what I'm saying? Shut up. Good fight. Volk fought his ass off. All heart. Nothing but respect for either gentleman, to be honest. But no, Islam won the fight. I scored a 3-2. Thought it was pretty clear. I don't know. The Aussie judges, if they don't have it for their own guy, you shouldn't have it for their own guy, okay? I mean, they're some of the most biased judges in the world, but Volk, he'll come back. Maybe we'll get the rematch someday, and at the least, he'll be able to beat up Yair Rodriguez, and that'll be fun to watch. So, I don't know. Now we get to talk about this card, and it's really just not something I'm looking forward to doing. Before we get to that, was at Team Taino tonight on the shirt. See that? Eddie Torres' gym, Cage Fury fighter. Awesome guy, great gym. Pat Sabatini sat down and did an interview with him. That will be dropping this week. That'll be 300,000 times more exciting than this video. So stay tuned for that. Also, might have heard Deanna Bennett, Philly girl. She's not really a Philly girl, but now she's a Philly girl. Now she trains at Philly. She's going to get a chance to go up against Liz Carmouche again, number 2 at Bellator 294 in Hawaii. That's for the strap. I think Deanna Bennett's going to bring a championship back to Philly because, oh, yeah, that was the other thing last weekend. The Eagles lost the Super Bowl, and that's all I will say about that. So, UFC Vegas 69. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bets, all singles. Honestly, I don't know. I'm just going to go through this nonsense. I don't know if you guys have been watching Sadiq Yusuf's breakdowns of his bets. He does this hilarious up and down breakdown of each fight on the card every week. Absolutely hilarious. He does it in like the most sarcastic but serious, stern voice. And if you don't know the guy, you might not know he's kidding. It's just comedy gold. So check him out. Anyways, we're going to do one of those because that's really what this card is. First bet. William Knight. William Knight minus 120 going up against Marcin Prachnio plus 100. We're going to go with the underdog, Prachnio. Why, you ask? William Knight, I fade that boy every time he fights. 2-fight losing streak. He's 5'10". That's very small for heavyweight and light heavyweight. He is always just like comedically smaller than his opponents, height-wise at least. He's built like a freaking fridge, but a very short, stout mini fridge. So I think I don't even have my notes. My Prachnio notes say with a question mark. Like, he's a plus 100 underdog. He's what he's going to look like. It's going to be a close fight. It's going to be a sloppy fight. And I think Prachnio edges out a ridiculously boring, close, sloppy decision. So cash that underdog bet. Prachnio plus 100. Please don't put any serious money on these fights this week. Let's just have fun and laugh, regardless of the outcome. Because our next fight, serious one here. Lena Landsberg plus 360 underdog against Mayra Bueno Silva, minus 500 favorite. That's all I got to say. If Mayra Bueno Silva is a minus 500 favorite, I don't care if she is fighting a twig. And I'm not talking about a skinny fighter. I'm saying I don't care if she is fighting a literal inanimate twig that is sitting on the ground. You bet the underdog. So we're going with Lena Landsberg plus 360. Why? Why, Jake? What skills? What? I don't. We're simply doing it because Mayra Bueno Silva has no business ever being a minus 500 favorite. That's the only reason I'm putting money on Lena Landsberg. Moving on. AJ Fletcher versus Temba Garimbo. I don't. He's like a fan favorite, and I just butchered his name. I'm a casual for this card. I don't know what to say. Sorry, folks, but we're going with him. We're going with Garimbo. Yeah, underdog. I didn't write his odds down. Fletcher's a minus 275, so that means Garimbo. It's probably in the plus 300 range, but let's double check. Plus 210. That's what I meant to say. Plus 200 range. So we're gonna go with Garimbo plus 210 over AJ Fletcher, who's sitting at a minus 275. I actually have some notes for this one. This is a fight I actually feel kind of confident in the underdog. AJ Fletcher, 0-2 in the UFC. Everyone, he gets the hype because he trains with Dustin Poirier. He had a great Contender Series appearance, right? But I mean, he's a little T-Rex. He has the shortest arms, the shortest reach out of any welterweight. And you see that in his fights. He's not very active. Fight IQ, very questionable. And the short arms doesn't really do him a lot of justice because we see that chin get tested and kind of getting like that D, low C grade. We've seen him knocked, dropped, and hurt when he probably shouldn't have been. Tembo, on the other hand, from what I've seen of this guy, not much. Very dangerous striking. Very exciting striking. Distance control kind of reminds me of like a more active Charles Johnson, a bigger, more active Charles Johnson. I might be saying that because of recency bias because we've seen Charles Johnson so much recently, but he has that like long distance control, precise style that's fun to watch. And I think against somebody with as much trouble as they have keeping that chin safe and tucked behind the short little stubby arms, possible for a minus 275 favorite to be exposed here. Also, Temba's not coming from like, this is UFC debut on short notice. It's not like he's coming from a rinky-dink promotion. He fought for Fury. He fought for UAE. Top competition. This guy's no joke. The line's way too wide. If this was like a minus 200, plus 150, might not even look at it. But just seeing AJ Fletcher is almost a 3-1 favorite over anyone in the UFC right now. Kind of the same thing as my theme of the night. We're just going with dogs that are going to expose some horrible line making by Vegas because I don't think Vegas knows anything about this card. So we're going to go with Greenbow over Fletcher. And that's like my first pick of the night where I'm like, okay, I feel like I actually did some research there. Got some notes there. So moving on. I don't even know how to say this guy's name. Before the research, like I said, I'm a casual for this card. But before the research was, I've never heard of this guy. Hussein Ashbakabov. That's what we're going to go with, okay? Hussein Ashbakabov. That sounds nice. Doesn't matter. He's from Russia. That's why I'm going to pick him going over Jamal Emmers. Jamal Emmers plus 130. Ashbakabov minus 160. Any Russian, any grappling boy who we've seen finish people at the rate Ashbakabov does. I don't know what's his name. Anyone we've seen do that coming out of Russia as anything under a minus 2-1 favorite, you got to take him. Jamal Emmers, we've seen him struggle in grappling before, especially recently against, speaking of, Pat Sabatini. I think the Russian just wins a decision. I don't know. I don't know what to say here. What do we say here?
I don't know.
Same thing I said last week, I guess. Stopped out in the Dagestans, minus 160 favorite. Riveting. Anyways, main event. It was so much fun getting here. Aaron Blanchfield, plus 115. Jessica Andrade, minus 140. Short notice. Andrade took this on, like a week and a half, a week and a day, something like that. That's why she's such a small favorite. Jessica Andrade should be like a minus 300 favorite here. She should be a minus 500 favorite over almost any fighter in the sport, except for maybe Rose and Weili. I don't know. Aaron Blanchfield. I'm very high on Aaron Blanchfield, New Jersey girl, close to me. Seen a lot of her regional scene, a lot of her in the UFC. I was there when she beat up Molly McCann and her own home crowd booed her. Boo you, New Jersey. Horrible state. Disgusting. I just don't see how Blanchfield wins this. We saw Blanchfield kind of struggle on the feet against Meatball Molly. What do you think it's going to look like against Andrade? Blanchfield's like, bread and butter is her grappling, her jiu-jitsu, her wrestling. It's amazing. It's great. But it's Jessica Andrade. And she's a minus 140 favorite. She just fought like Andrade is like a minus 200 favorite over much better, much more proven competition than Erin Blanchfield. I'm in no way fading Erin Blanchfield here. Really like Erin Blanchfield. If Erin's gonna win the fight, it's gonna be by a grapple fest, maybe submitting her. That's where we've seen Andrade struggle before. If we have seen Andrade struggle before, a loss doesn't mean they struggle. It's MMA. Anybody can lose anytime, anyhow. Oh boy, minus 140, Jessica Andrade. I'm tempted to just say, ignore everything I said in this entire video and just put like 5 units down on Andrade minus 140. Call it a night. Call it a night. Because otherwise, you're betting on Marcin Prachnio because he's bigger than William Knight. You're betting on Lena Landsberg because her opponent, Mayra Bueno Silva, is a minus 500 underdog. You're betting on Temba Garimbo because his opponent has short arms. And you're betting on this Russian guy whose name I don't even know because he's Russian and because I don't know his name. It could be one of those nights. Or you could say, no, ignore that, Jake. You're being goofy. You've had a long day at work. You came home and you're making this silly review, and we're not going to listen. We're not going to listen, but we will tail you on Andrade. You know what I would say to that? That sounds like a good idea to me. Everybody, enjoy this card. I know I will. 100%. And, beforehand, tune in to Tapped Out, BetQL Network, Odyssey Sports, Brendan Tobin, Sean Levine, break down this card, break down UFC Vegas 70, also riveting. And then they actually break down UFC 285, which is like the next event that I just need to have it because I'm so sick of this Apex nonsense. Anyways, have a good night, children. I will see you all on the flip side. Let's win some money somehow, some way, even with this card.